Good morning, everybody. Today is August 13th. Today is your quick COVID update. Numbers, not so good, you know. Yesterday's numbers in the United States is like 133,000 cases or so. And we are averaging at 125,000. Just to put this in perspective, we were averaging 125,000 at the beginning of February 2021 as the cases were dropping. But if you take it back to the beginning of November, around the first week of November, we were also averaging 125,000 cases of 2020. So we went from 125,000 cases in November, went up to 250, back down to 125,000 cases in February. Here we are again, August 13th, averaging 125,000 cases. So in other words, we haven't made it that far. Dr. V, but those are cases. What about hospitalizations? What about deaths? Deaths aren't going up. Nah. Open her up. Like, shut the fuck up. See, this is what happens. This is the problem because people read these numbers. And you have to remember, these numbers are a representation of what you did 2 weeks ago. And there's always this 2 to 3 week lag in hospitalizations, then another 2 to 3 week lag in deaths. And as we get better with treating these, and we are sending people home, we're not admitting them to the hospital. So the hospitalization numbers lag. Remember when this whole thing started, it was like a 2 week lag. Now it's a 3 week lag in hospitalizations. And because we're getting better at treating them, the death numbers are you don't get the results in the death numbers till later. Unlike what we, at the beginning of the pandemic, it was cases, then 3 weeks later, death. Now what you're really seeing is cases, 3 weeks later, you'll see hospitalizations go up. 3 weeks after that, so 6 weeks total, you'll see deaths go up. But the deaths don't go up as high because, one, we have vaccination. So some of those cases are in vaccinated people, which we know. Two, these are a younger population because unlike last year when it was the elderly coming down with it, we have younger, healthier people. And that's not good. I mean, it's good because the death rate stays low, but you have an entire generation of 30s and 40-year-olds who are going to have long haul symptoms. Remember, 30% of people who recover from COVID, who didn't die, see, I told you they don't die. 30% of them have lingering symptoms, brain fog, lethargy, that's tiredness, Uncle Billy, difficulty breathing, they're not quite themselves, short-term memory loss, can't remember why they came into the room, etc. During the time when they should be making their economic strides, you know, when you're in your 30s and 40s, and you're going to have 30% of them have problems. And ironically, turns out that one of the best treatments for long haul syndrome is to fucking get vaccinated. And you're going to spread misinformation. That's fine. Do what you need to do. But see, this is science. This is medical progress. These hospitalization numbers are lagging and the deaths are not going up because we have better treatments. You know, we are getting the message across despite what you think about the benefits of vaccinations. Why this needs to happen. Now, in that setting, we are about to open up schools. We are having stupid arguments about whether or not to wear masks or mask mandates. If you sit there and go, you know, this is a civil liberty problem. I don't need the government telling me to wear a mask or not. I can make up my own decisions. You got to remember, this is the same fucking generation that ate Tide Pods. You are leaving this up to a group of people who thought it was cool to pop Tide laundry detergent. Stupid shit. The answer is no, you can't. And the second you sit there and go, I don't want the government telling me what to do, automatically says you're not going to wear a mask. You're not going to send your kids to school wearing a mask. Because otherwise you wouldn't care about the mask mandates. The parents who are going to send their kids to school wearing masks, like myself, we don't care about mask mandates. You want a mask mandate? Go ahead. You don't? I don't fucking care. I'm sending my kids to school with a mask. It's only the people who want to say no to mask mandates. They're not going to send their kids to school with a mask. Does this make sense? So what you're going to see is you're going to see this lag, exposures. I mean, we already have it. We already have school districts reversing course. We have school districts defying governor's orders. We already have kids being isolated, positivity cases in the first 2 to 3 days of school. And remember, these kids are little germ spreaders. It's the 12 to 20-year-olds who are the super spreaders. And they're going to take this shit home to, maybe you have an infant at home. Maybe you have a grandmother living with you. Maybe you have an immunocompromised person. Listen, because of COVID, just because there's COVID, cancer did not fucking stop happening. Right? People are still getting diagnosed with cancer. People are still getting treated with chemotherapy. People are still getting treated with immunosuppressants for transplants patients. People are still taking immunosuppressants for autoimmune diseases, like just something simple like rheumatoid arthritis. I don't mean to belittle that, but there's a lot of people with rheumatoid arthritis, right, who are taking immunosuppressants so that they can just fucking like grab things. They can walk without pain. And these arthritis medicines are immunosuppressing medicines because it's an autoimmune disease. Your body's attacking itself, which is what happens with COVID. So you give someone vaccinations, they can't do a response. And now we're starting to say, oops, we need a third shot. And the media is poorly calling it a booster shot. So yesterday, the FDA approved a third shot for immunocompromised people. These are chemotherapy patients, transplant patients, autoimmune patients, because the new study shows that the third shot, they finally have a response with a third shot. So this is more like, oops, 2 was not enough. It's not really a booster. It's an actual, like if you were doing a dosing regimen, like these patients need 3 doses. It's kind of like, if I have a headache, I take 2 Tylenols. But if my 15-year-old daughter has a headache, I give her 1 Tylenol, right? It's a dosing regimen. So immunocompromised, you need 3 doses. Average people like myself need 2 doses, right, et cetera. And I also had these COVID rapid test kits. So I tested myself. I tested Erica. I tested my 15-year-old, and we all had antibody response. And so now the government is going, okay, well, the study shows we need 3 doses. So now we're about to open up these schools, and just think about this. Just sit down, be unemotional about this for a second. I just told you we are spreading out the lagging timeline, right, of hospitalizations. See, Mississippi just announced that they're opening up another, they're reopening their parking garage overflows facility in the parking garage of their hospital at University of Mississippi. We haven't even fucking started talking about Mississippi. Mississippi is one of those states that is just starting to see the surge come up because they neighbor Louisiana and Florida, and they're kind of sandwiched in between Louisiana and Florida. But they've been lingering on and on and on for all summer long. So now they're starting to see the hospitalizations go up, and then after that, they're going to see the death rates go up. See, people think it's like fucking Burger King. You want it now, you want it your way. It doesn't work that way, guys. If you got the vaccination today, it would be a month, 3 to 4 weeks before your next dose, and 3 to 4 weeks after your second dose that you have full protection. So you're talking about a good 8 weeks, guys. So we're in middle of August. Today's August 13th. August, September, October, middle of October. If you got your vaccinations today, middle of October, you'd be covered. Well, we have already been in school for 2 months by that point. And then you won't start seeing the effects. Now, for example, Chicago, like they did a Lollapalooza, 300,000 people went to this fucking 4-day music festival in Chicago. Now, Chicago at the time when they were hosting it was a lower, was not a hot spot. They required either proof of vaccinations or a negative COVID test, which they think was probably about 90%, but there's always misinformation about it. They didn't really test, they didn't really check your ID, stuff like that, your proof. And now they're saying, well, there's only 230 cases a week after or something like that. I'm like, dude, it's not long enough. Who understands what I'm trying to say? Sturgis just ended. Like, it's not long enough. South Dakota is already starting to have an uptick in its cases. Just wait. I'm telling y'all, we have spread out the timeline of what happens with COVID. So you're not going to see the effects of Sturgis for another month. So people can't sit there and go, see, Sturgis over. I'm okay. Like, there's no thing reported. Give it a month. Give it a month. All right. So what's going to happen is come October, when these cases go fucking crazy in kids and schools and parents start clamoring, people start losing their shit, people start, pointing fingers. And then you'll sit back and you'll think, I thought I saw Dr. V say something about this back in 2 months ago. Right? See, our little brains cannot process like the future concepts and past concepts. And we are in a society that cannot delay gratification. And when shit hits the fan, all we do is point fingers. I'm telling you, listen to me. The shit is just starting. Don't listen to these people that said Delta's going to burn out. It has not burned out in the UK. It has not burned out in France. It has not burned out in India. I am telling y'all, it is not going to burn out here in the United States. You just see, Dr. V, end of August, beginning of September, it's going to be gone. No, it's not. No, it's not. There's roughly 100 million people that could qualify for vaccinations. There's about 165 million, if you count the underage, but about 100 million adults who could be vaccinated in America who are not vaccinated. What's 200,000 cases a day out of 100 million? Dude, I'm telling you, the Delta virus has many, many more lungs left to infect. Not such a short rant. Get vaccinated. See, October, be careful. See y'all tomorrow. Bye.